On Labor Day, the entire province's top track class held a joint mock exam. 42 top students boarded a bus and headed to the test center when class sweetheart Talel said, "It's so pitiful that everyone has to study, even on Labor Day." She swayed the whole bus in her favor. After photo ops in the flower fields, blessings at the wishing pavilion, and a farming experience, 41 people followed her from one stop to the next, and I was the only one fighting desperately to get off the bus. In my previous life, I failed to get off in time. The whole class missed the exam, and I was tied up on a mountain road and crushed into pulp this time, standing on the very same bus and watching Taleo smile sweetly. "I only wanted to know one thing without me taking the disaster for you. Can your dream of getting into Chinua and peaking still come true?" Chapter 1. Why don't we listen to what Lely has to say for once? At 7 o'clock on Labor Day morning, just as the bus bound for the third mock exam site pulled out of the school gate, Talel stood up from the third row and began handing out a big bag of lollipops one by one to everyone on the bus. Lely stayed up all night thinking about it. Ever since the new year, everyone had gone without a single day off, and now they still had exams on May Day. That's so exhausting. She blinked her moist, almond-shaped eyes, her chin tucked in slightly, her voice sweet as honey. Lely checked the map and saw that the route to the exam site passed right by that insanely popular lavender flower field. We'd only need 10 minutes to snap a photo and check in. Why don't we go? Think of it as giving ourselves a little boost. The whole bus erupted in cheers. Lely is the most thoughtful. Yeah. Anyway, the exam doesn't start until 9 o'clock, so if we take the long way, we'll still make it in time. The sweet smell of lollipops filled the carriage. I sat in the back row staring at Talalei's hand as she handed out the candy. Her knuckles white. I've seen the scene before. Last life. It was the same. Just 10 minutes. 10 minutes turned into 20. 20 into an hour. And after that hour, 42 admission tickets were reduced to waste paper. And me because I'd argued with her on the bus. I was branded as the one who deliberately picked a fight with Lely and caused everyone to lose focus and be late. On the 7th day after my death, they tied me up on a bend in the mountain road. Gianni Chin crouched in front of me and wound the rope tightly around my wrists, loop by loop. If you hadn't argued with her, everyone wouldn't have been late. You ruined 41 people's futures. You owe them. As the truck came barreling toward me, I saw Tal standing behind the roadside guardrail, tilting her head with a sweet smile on her face. Lely just wants to make everyone happy. I don't know how many times that voice echoed in my head until I opened my eyes again. Juan, why aren't you saying anything? Lely is asking everyone for their opinion. I heard Jangi Chin's voice from beside me. I jerked my body away. His hand, reaching for my shoulder, frozen midair, and a trace of irritation flashed across his face. "So what if I touch you? Am I going to eat you or something?" He pulled his hand back, muttering psycho under his breath, then jerked his chin toward Talel. Everyone else agreed. "Only you didn't say a word. Are you trying to ruin the mood again?" I looked at him. His delicate features and neat school uniform collar overlapped with the image in my memory of the men crouching by the roadside tying a rope. Lely's route must be great. We all support it. Taleli's lips curved upward slightly. She quickly walked over to my side, reached up to hook her arm through mine, and a milky sweet perfume drifted over. "Thank you, Sister Ruan. Lely knew you were the best." She tiptoed and gently patted Gianni Chin on the shoulder, her tone soft and coaxing as if she were soothing a little animal. "Brother Ichin, don't be so mean to Ruan anymore. She just takes a little time to warm up." The tips of Yanni Chen's ears turned red. I lowered my head, dimmed my phone screen to the lowest setting, and sent my sister a message. "Cease. Turn on my live location. And stay on standby." Chapter 2. A sea of flowers sat beside the national highway, and a banner hung at the entrance. "Happy May Day. Check in and get a flower wreath." The driver frowned as he pulled over to the roadside. "Students, this place is actually in the opposite direction from the exam site. Stop here for a moment, then hurry up and go." Tal sprang up from the front row and clasped her hands together in front of the driver. "Sir, you've worked hard. It's May Day, so you should take a break. 2. Lely brought you a thermos with tea. She brewed herself inside. Sit. And have a couple. We'll be back in 10 minutes. She shoved a pink thermos into the driver's hand. The driver took it, seemed to want to say something, but in the end said nothing. The door opened, and everyone spilled out. I didn't move. Ruan, aren't you coming down? Yanichin turned back to look at me. I'll wait in the car. He frowned slightly. Everyone's going. But you're not. What's that supposed to mean? Tlili ran back and tilted her head at me. Sister Ruan, are you feeling unwell? Want me to buy you a bottle of water? No, you guys go ahead. She took 2 steps back. Her lips parted as if to say something. But in the end, she said nothing and turned to run toward the entrance of the flower sea. I counted the minutes. 10 minutes had passed. 20 minutes had passed. Outside the window, waves of screams and laughter kept rising and falling. Some people were live streaming from the middle of the flower field with their phones held up, while others wore flower wreaths and spun around for photos. Tal stood right in the middle of a sea of flowers, her dress fluttering in the wind, holding up a bunch of lavender and making a heart gesture at the camera. Happy May Day. Lily loves you all. I checked the time. It was 7:45. From here to the exam venue, it normally takes just over an hour, so there was still plenty of time. But Tal's 10 minutes had dragged on until 11 o'clock in my past life. The driver finished his tea in his seat and let out a long yen. I took out my phone and checked it. My sister had already replied. Got the location. I'm on my way. Keep in touch. 10 minutes later, I stood up and walked to the bus door. It's time to go. No one was listening to me. Tal's voice came from deep within the sea of flowers. Everyone come quick. There's a wish tree over here. Making a wish on Labor Day is super effective. Lily wishes everyone gets into Tsinghua or Peking University. The cheers were deafening. I braced myself against the car door frame and watched them run toward that tree one by one. Yanichin walked beside Talel, leaning down to listen to her talk, smiling now and then. 755805, they finally came back in 2s and 3s, each with a red string tied around their wrist. Tlili was the last to get on the bus with flower petals on her clothes, and her cheeks lightly sun-kissed. All right, let's go. Lily's May Day cheer-up ritual for everyone is complete. The applause was thunderous. The bus started up again. I kept my eyes on the ETA on the GPS 902. We were already hanging by a thread. Driver, turn right at the intersection ahead and get on the highway. I called out. Lily glanced back at me, suddenly let out an awe, and sprang up from her seat. Wait. Lily remembers now. She pulled out her phone, swiped a couple of times, and held the screen up to the driver. Sir, turn left at this intersection and go 3 kilometers. There's a Mayday farming experience park there, and lots of students from other schools are checking in there. We can't fall behind. No. I blurted out. The whole carriage fell silent. Tal slowly turned around and looked at me, the smile gradually freezing on her face. Sister 1. What's wrong? Chapter 3. A girl in the back row named Ziam pulled out her phone and pointed the camera at me. Shinruin, I'm recording this. Every time you open your mouth, you ruin the mood. Do you even know how long Lely spent preparing for today's outing? She was Tal's desk mate, and also the fastest gossip in the whole class. In her previous life, she was the one who spread the rumor all over the grade that Qinwan deliberately picked a fight with Lely, causing the whole class to be late. I'm on WeChat with Teacher Xiao. If you keep targeting Lely, I'll screenshot it and send it to her right away. I looked at her hand holding up her phone and ignored her. It's 8:15 already. The exam starts at 900, and it's another 10 minutes from here to the highway entrance. Jo-min raised her phone even higher. Look at you always saying things nobody wants to hear. Who doesn't know? There's an exam at 9 o'clock. Lely just feels for everyone and wants us to relax a little. And here you are of the whole class. You're the only one wide awake. The only one who thinks you're so great. Exactly. A boy beside her chimed in. Everyone else gets to have fun over Labor Day. But we still have to take an exam. Lily finally managed to carve out a little time for everyone to enjoy themselves. Can you stop ruining it? Tal tagged at Jo Min's sleeve and said softly, Min Man, don't argue with Sister Wan. She's only anxious because she cares about everyone. Lily doesn't blame her. Min glared at me and put away her phone. Jang Yi-chin walked over and rested one hand on the back of my chair. Come on, does those 10 minutes really matter? Did I owe you one from a past life or something? The moment those words came out of his mouth, I almost laughed. He went on, take a lap around the farm experience park and head out, snap a few photos while you're at it, and hand them in for your Mayday practicum assignment. 2 birds with 1 stone. You're always like this. You don't join the activities. You don't turn in the assignments. So, what are you going to use to earn points for your final comprehensive evaluation? Tal chimed in from the front. Exactly. Lily only looked up this park because she remembered everyone still hadn't turned in their practical assignment. It's all for everyone's own good. She blinked innocently. The whole bus rang out with a chorus of thank you, Lily. The driver glanced at the rearview mirror and asked hesitantly, so, are we turning right onto the freeway or left toward that whatever it is? Garden. 41 pairs of eyes turned on me. I closed my mouth. The bus turned left. Chapter 4. At the entrance to the farming experience park, a wooden signboard stood there with 8 big red-painted characters. Labor on May Day. The most beautiful practice. Tal was the first to hop off the bus. She pulled a straw hat out of her bag, put it on, and spun around. This really feels like hard work. Lily is the most beautiful laborer on May Day. She ran toward a vegetable plot with a staff member from the garden trailing after her, dazed, and handing her a little troll. Classmate, you can try planting vegetables here. It's 20 yuan per person, and you get a whole row. Jang Yi-chan walked over and pulled out his phone to scan the QR code. There are 42 people in the class. I'll pay. Ta! Lily scooted over, grabbed his sleeve with both hands, and gave it a little shake. Brother Chun is the most generous. Lily! Thanks on behalf of everyone. She turned around and called out to the whole class. Come on, everyone. Plant a vegetable and make a wish. So hope on Labor Day. Harvest fruit for the college entrance exam. This idea is absolutely brilliant. It would be a shame if Lily didn't become a planner. 40 people swarmed into the vegetable patch, crouched down in the dirt, digging furiously, splashing mud all over themselves, their laughter rising and falling all around. I stood still at the entrance. They 32 minutes until the exam starts. Navigation says the fastest route from here to the exam venue takes 47 minutes. It's already too late. No. If I get on now and take the highway, there might still be a slim chance if I can make it within the 15-minute grace period after the exam starts. Driver. I walked over to the bus where the driver was scrolling on his phone in the driver's seat. I need to leave early. Could you drive me to the exam site now? The driver looked up at me. Just you. The others aren't leaving. The others are still in the vegetable patch. He clicked his tongue. No way. I'm supposed to shuttle the whole class by chartered bus. I can't just take you and leave. What about everyone else later? Talk to your teacher. If the teacher says I should go, I'll go. I took out my phone and dialed Mr. Joe's number. Busy signal. I dialed 3 times in a row, and it was a busy signal every time. Tal's scream came from over by the vegetable patch. A bug. A huge bug. Brother Chun, come save Lily. Jang Yi-chin dashed over and hurriedly brushed the mud off her skirt. I shoved my phone back into my pocket and felt the second message my sister had sent 2 hours earlier at the bottom of it. I'm already waiting at the highway exit near your school. Just let me know if you need anything. Chapter 5. I walked toward the back of the bus, planning to slip out through the park's rear entrance and wait for my sister's car on the national highway. Shinron Jang Yi-chen's voice came up behind me. I quickened my pace, and he caught up in just a few strides and blocked my way. Where are you going? I've got something to do. I'm heading out first. What could be more important than the 3rd mock exam? I looked at him. The 3rd mock exam starts at 9 o'clock. It's 8:35 now, and the navigation says it takes 47 minutes to get to the exam hall. You do the math. Do I still need to stay here? He froze for a moment, pulled out his phone to check the time, and his face changed. Why are you panicking? We'll all go together once we're on the highway. It'll be faster. We'll definitely be there in 40 minutes. Go tell them to get in the car now. He glanced back at the vegetable patch. Lily was crouching on the ground, using a small shovel to dig the soil little by little with 7 or 8 people gathered around teaching her. As for Lily, just give it 5 more minutes. 5 minutes later, she'll say, "Give me 5 more minutes." Could you not be so harsh? Lily was doing it for everyone. For everyone's good. On Labor Day, for everyone's good, we took the whole class to look at flowers, work in the fields, and make wishes, and skip the exam. I raised my voice. Someone in the vegetable patch turned and looked over, and Jenny Chen's expression darkened. He grabbed my wrist tightly, lowering his voice to a near whisper. "Keep your voice down. You're always like this. Everything's fine, and you have to go and make things unpleasant. I know you don't like Lily, but you can't use the exam to threaten everyone just because you're jealous." Jealousy. He had used that same word in his previous life, too. Shinron, you're just jealous that Lily is more likable than you. So, when you saw everyone being late, you were actually pleased, weren't you? I yanked my hand out of his grasp. I don't care what anyone else does. I'm leaving now. His hand reached out again, gripping even tighter than before. If you leave, and Teacher Joe asks about it later, how are you going to explain it that you left the group on your own? Then you explain it. You're the class monitor. I'm the class monitor. So, I can't let you go off on your own. If something happens, who's going to take responsibility? Looking at his solemn, righteous face, I suddenly really wanted to ask him one question. You've already been admitted. So, what are you nervous about? But I didn't ask. I asked him in my previous life, and he denied it flat out. Afterward, he even turned around and accused me of spreading rumors. I stopped arguing with him and went around him toward the back door. He shouted, "Shinowin, you stop right there." I didn't stop. He stamped his foot behind me, didn't come after me, and turned to run toward the vegetable patch. "Lael, Shinron is going off on her own. Hurry up, and tell everyone to get on the bus." Tal stood up from the muddy ground and tilted his head. Leaving this soon. But Lily isn't done planting yet. She looked down at the shallow little hole she dug and pouted. "Okay, then everyone give Lily 2 more minutes. Lily will plant the seedling, and then we'll go." 2 minutes. Another 2 minutes passed. I didn't turn back. Chapter 6. When I got to the side of the highway, a gray sedan was parked on the shoulder. The window rolled down, and my sister looked at me. "Get in." I opened the car door and got into the front passenger seat. Shinrocha didn't ask any questions and flirted onto the highway. I looked down at my phone. 8:41. Navigation has been recalculated. Fastest route 39 minutes. There's still a grace period for entry until 9:20. You will make it, but only just. So, can you talk now? Why did you make me follow your location first thing this morning? She spoke in a calm, measured voice, her eyes fixed ahead. Someone in the class led everyone on a detour. A detour? Where to? First the sea of flowers, then the farm garden. Aren't you guys going to take an exam? That's what I thought, too. She was silent for a few seconds. What about the people on the bus? Still growing vegetables. Her sister's hand tightened on the steering wheel. She didn't ask any more questions. The car held steady at 120 kilometers an hour, and the road signs flashed by one after another. My phone rang. It was an unknown number. I answered it, and on the other end was a middle-aged man speaking very politely. "Hello, is this Shinyoin? I'm with the Provincial Academic Competition Organizing Committee. The results are out for the entry you submitted last time. I'm not available right now. Let's talk later. I'm done for." My sister glanced at me and didn't ask any questions. 28 minutes left. My phone rang again. This time it was a WeChat group message from the Tingby class group. Tel sent a 60-second voice message. I tapped it, and her voice was all sweet and sugary. "Everyone, don't panic. Lily already had the driver get on the highway. Lily has done the math. We'll make it in time." A whole row of replies below. "Lily is the best. As long as Lily is here, I can relax. Happy May Day, and good luck on your exam." I muted the group chat, leaned back in my chair, and closed my eyes. In my previous life, this voice message was sent at 8:52, and they finally arrived at the exam venue at 9:37. 17 minutes past the grace period, the iron gate was closed, and not a single person got in. Chapter 7. The exam venue was set at City. No. One high school. Yellow tape had been strung across the entrance, and the SWAT team and the inspection crew were standing in a line. My sister's car pulled up at the intersection at 9:13, and I shoved the door open and ran. Your exam admission ticket. The person at the entrance stopped me, my hands trembling. I pulled it out of my backpack and handed it over. He glanced over it and checked the names against the list from the top prep class. Your school said a whole bus load was coming. You're the only one. The others are on their way. He checked his watch and stepped aside for minutes left. Hurry in. I sprinted across the playground, nearly tripping at the corner of the teaching building, and barely made it into the exam room on the last ring of the bell. The proctor looked up at me, then pointed to my seat. Shinron. Yes. Sit. I slumped in my chair, my heart pounding so hard it felt like it might burst, my ears ringing with a constant buzz. After lying there for a minute and getting my breathing under control, I picked up the pen. The first multiple-choice question was about differentiating a function. My hand was shaking. I had to write it twice before I filled in the answer correctly. A commotion was coming from outside, growing louder and louder. We're from the top science class in the city, and the city's best students are all on this bus. What do you mean you won't let us in? Through the first-floor window, I saw the bus pull up crookedly at the school gate, its door wide open as people hopped off one by one. Tal was standing in front, still with flecks of mud on her skirt, and a straw head hanging behind her neck. She stood on tiptoe and lifted her face toward the inspection team. Uncles and aunties. We ran into a tiny little problem on the way and ended up a teeny bit late. Could you cut us some slack? Please. She folded her hands over her chest and tilted her head. That same posture, that same tone, just like when she made the whole class take a detour on the bus. The inspection team members were expressionless. The entry time has passed. Please contact the school. Jangi Chan stepped forward, pushed up his glasses, and stood very straight. You may not realize the situation, but we're the city's top track class. More than half of this year's spots for Tsinghua and Ping University in the whole city depend on us if you keep us out here. How are you going to answer for the admissions figures at the end of the year? The SWAT officers didn't budge. Zhang Yichen's voice rose another notch. I'm the class monitor. Yanni-chun. I can sign a guarantee on behalf of the whole class. We'll make up for the time we're late ourselves. Yanni-chun. A voice came from behind the crowd. Teacher Joe's suit was rumbled, his hair a mess, as if it had been whipped by the wind. He was gripping his phone so tightly that his knuckles had gone white. Jenny-chan swallowed the rest of what he was about to say. Everyone looked anxiously at Teacher Joe. Only Tao, Lily, clattered over to Teacher Joe, holding out a red string with both hands and looking up at her with a smile. Teacher Joe, this is something Lily prayed for you on the Mayday wishing tree. May it keep you healthy. Chapter 8. Clap. The red string was knocked to the ground. Ta. Lily clutched her hand and stared blankly at Teacher Zhao. You Teacher Ho's lips were trembling as he pointed at each of them one by one. What exactly did you do? The driver called me at 7:30 and said that 5 minutes after the bus set off, it turned into some kind of sea of flowers. He couldn't stop you. And then the call got cut off. I made 17 calls, and not a single person picked up. His voice grew louder and louder. I contacted the traffic police, the inspection team, and each of your parents. Do you have any idea the whole school has been looking for you for the past 2 hours? Everyone fell silent. Talay pouted, tears trembling on her lashes, ready to fall at any moment. But Lily just wanted everyone to have a happier Labor Day. Teacher Zhao ignored her and turned to Zhang Yichen. You're the class monitor. Why didn't you stop her? Zhang Yichen opened his mouth, then closed it again. Teacher, how dare you even stand there? Teacher Joe said, his voice forced up from his throat, deep and hoarse. Don't you know you didn't need to take this exam? You already got your recommendation letter last winter. The air went still. 40 pairs of eyes turned to Zhang each, and at once, early admission. The first to speak was Yi Jun, who was sitting on the doorstep. He was an athlete and had to rely on this third mock exam to score points in his academic subjects. You got early admission, And you still dragged us alone to go plant vegetables. Yanni Chen's lips moved, but no sound came out. He-jun stood up and hurled the crumpled entrance exam permit in his hand at Janie Chen's chest. My mom has been selling vegetables at the market for 17 years to put me through high school. All for this one chance. And you're telling me you got in through a direct recommendation. His voice echoed at the doorway. Someone started sobbing. Someone crouched down. And someone leaned against the wall in silence. Tal took 2 steps back, stumbled as the crowd jostled her. And her straw had slipped off her neck and got stepped on. And no, it has nothing to do with Lely. Her voice started to tremble. Jo Min was standing at the very edge of the crowd, still holding up her phone, the little red recording dot blinking on and off. I sat in the exam hall, taking it all in through a window and a barred iron door. The invigilator walked over and drew the curtain shut. Answer your paper. I picked up my pen and bent back over my work. Chapter 9. After handing in my paper for the first subject, I sat in the hallway drinking water. My phone was blowing up with messages. The elite class group chat was already going crazy. Min sent over a dozen voice messages in a row, but I didn't open them. My sister sent me a message. How did it go? Pretty well. You should head back first. I still have one more exam this afternoon. I'm not leaving. I'll stay parked up front and wait for you so we can head back together after you're done. I replied with a simple, okay. I opened the news app and scrolled a couple of times, but there was still nothing about it on the trending list. But it wouldn't be long now. Footsteps came from the other end of the corridor. It was a middle-aged man from the inspection team holding a roster and a walkie-talkie. He gave me a quick glance. You're the only one from the Tingbei class who made it in. Yes. What's your name? Shinron. He crossed it off the list. Do your best on this afternoon's exam. Don't let outside matters affect you. He finished speaking and turned to leave. The commotion outside was growing louder, and I could faintly hear the parents' voices. I walked over to the window and looked out through the gap in the blinds. Dozens of people had gathered at the school gate. Some were holding up their phones to record videos. Others were shouting at the top of their lungs. Several parents pushed up to the inspection team, and one middle-aged woman stood on tiptoe, craning to get a look inside. My son ranked in the top 10 in the city on the mock exam, and you're not letting him in. Are Tsinghua and Peking University even going to take anyone this year? A man nearby was shouting at the top of his lungs. What kind of exam is held on May Day? The schedule was wrong from the start. The people from the inspection team stood in the middle, holding their hands out in front of them, repeating the same thing over and over. Everyone is equal before the rules. No one may enter 15 minutes after the exam starts. No exceptions. The crowd erupted into a cacophony of curses and abused. Tal stood at the back of the crowd. At some point, she had changed into a pair of slippers, and the mud on the hem of her skirt had dried into little flakes that crumbled off onto the ground. Janie Chen stood beside her half an arm's length away. He said something in a low voice, and Taleo shook her head. Then she suddenly lifted her face toward the crowd, her voice sweet and trembling. Come on, everyone. Stop arguing. Lely can call that uncle at the Education Bureau and have them arrange a makeup exam for us. Okay. Lely's uncle knows people at the Education Bureau. After 2 seconds of silence, someone let out a cold laugh. If your uncle were actually useful, would you still be standing here with the rest of us? Tal's smile froze on her face. This was a crack that hadn't existed in her previous life. In her previous life, right up until the very end, everyone had protected her. But this time, they were not just a few minutes late. They were a full half-hour late. The flower sea, the wishing tree, and the farming garden. Every stop was time-stamped. At every stop, someone took a photo. Chapter 10. The farce at the school gate lasted for nearly an hour. By the time I went into the exam hall for my second subject, the bus was still parked at the entrance. There were only a few people left on board. Most of the parents had already left with their children. Before leaving, someone had kicked the bus tire, and someone else had torn up the tickets to Flower Sea and scattered the pieces into the air. Tal was sitting on the bus steps, clutching the red cord she had picked up from the ground. I took one last look from the window. She was trembling. After I finished the afternoon exam, I came out of the exam hall, and it was almost dark. A few more news vans had pulled up by the school gate with microphones, and cameras trained on the inspection team leader in a half circle. May I ask, since the entire city's top track classes were absent for the exam, will you arrange a makeup test? The inspection team leader pushed up his glasses. The third mock exam is a city-wide standardized test, and its rules are the same as the college entrance exam. Anyone who arrives later than the allotted time will not be allowed in. There are no makeup exams, but all 41 of these students are among the very best in the entire city. No one has the right to place themselves above the rules. He paused for a moment, and as far as we know, their lateness was entirely their own fault, with no force measure involved. The camera pans to the crowd where a reporter stops a few students who haven't left yet. Students, why are you late? No one said a word. A girl pushed her way out of the crowd with her head down while another boy covered his face with his backpack and hurried off. Tal was still sitting on the bus steps when the reporter held out a microphone to her. Are you the classmate who organized everyone to take the long way around? She lifted her head. Her eyes rimpled schoten. Her lips trembled several times before she suddenly turned and shouted at the crowd. It's not Lely's fault alone. It was Shinwan. Everyone look over here. It was her arguing with Lely the whole time in the car and saying nothing but miserable, upsetting things. She got Lely so worked up that Lely lost focus and took the wrong turn. She got up from the steps, ran a few paces toward the school gate, stumbled, and fell, her knee hitting the concrete. She got back up and kept shouting, and then she slipped away on her own. She knew full well we couldn't catch up, but she didn't tell us. She ran off by herself. Her fingers slipped through the iron bars of the gate, pointing toward the exam hall. She's in there. Out of 42 people, she's the only one who went in. She did that on purpose. The crowd stirred. Several parents, who hadn't left yet, turned around and stared through the school gate. I was standing in the first floor corridor of the teaching building when our eyes happened to meet. A middle-aged woman rushed to the iron gate and slapped the bars. You're the one who left our child behind and ran in on your own. More parents crowded around, and someone reached through the gaps in the bars only to be stopped by the SWAT officers. Hey, you there, come out here and explain yourself. So, you just ran off on your own and left it at that. Why didn't you take everyone with you? Were you doing this on purpose? I stood in the hallway, staring from more than 10 meters away at the flushed faces outside the iron gate. Yanni-chan was standing at the very back of the crowd. He didn't join in shouting, but he didn't say a word in my defense either. His eyes were on me through the iron gate, and the look in them was complicated. I bent down, took something out of my backpack, and headed toward the school gate. The special police stepped aside to make a narrow opening. I stood by the doorframe, facing everyone outside through the iron bars. When Talal saw me come out, he took a step back, still pointing in my direction. See for yourselves. She's the one. I held up the thing in my hand. A voice recorder. Every word spoken by everyone on the bus this morning from 73 to 8:39 is in here. Tlili's hand frozen. Madair, who was the one who suggested going to the Sea of Flowers, who agreed to take the detour, who said, what's 10 minutes between friends, who said Lely is the best. I pressed played. Till Lely's voice came out of the recorder, sweet to the point of cloying. We've all been working so hard for so long, and you can't even take a day off for Labor Day. How pitiful is that? Then Jang Ekin's voice came through. What's 10 minutes? Did I owe you one in a past life? Then came Min's voice. Look at you always saying things nobody wants to hear. Then came the voices of 40 people one after another. Some laughing, some jeering, some cursing at me in dead silence. I turned off the recorder. I tried to stop it 5 times, and every single time I was overruled. I asked to get out 3 times. The first 2 times they held me back, and the 3rd time I jumped out and ran. I spent an hour and a half in this car, and the most I said the whole time was go. You watched Talila. You can call me selfish because I really did save only myself, but you have no right to say I heard you. Tal's lips trembled, and he couldn't say a word. The voice recorder was still in my hand. It contained a complete 96-minute recording starting from the very first second the bus started up. It was quiet outside the school gate for a long time. The first to leave was the middle-aged woman. She let go of the railing, grabbed her daughter by the arm, and walked off without looking back. Then came the second, then the third. The parents left one by one. Some tossed out a curse as they went, not at me, but at their own children. What the hell were you thinking? Following an idiot to look at flowers. Have you lost your damn mind? Labor Day. What the hell are you working for? What have you actually done? Grown some vegetables. You think growing vegetables can get you into Tsinghua or Peking University. Tal stood at the increasingly empty school gate, watching people leave one after another until only she and Janshin remained. She looked back at him. Brother Chun. Janichin said nothing. He turned and left. Tal lowered her head. The red string slipped from her fingers and fell to the ground where the wind rolled it twice before it hit the edge of the flower bed and stopped. Chapter 11. The recording blew up online. I had no idea which reporter had secretly filmed the screen on the spot along with those few things I'd said and uploaded it that night. The top trending topic read, top students from the elite class skipped the third mock exam to go flower viewing and vegetable planting over May Day. The only girl who showed up was carrying a full recording. The next morning, when I got to school, everyone in the hallway was looking at me differently. It wasn't sympathy, and it wasn't flattery either. It was some hard-to-describe look as if overnight I had gone from being invisible to being a different species. Teacher Joe was waiting for me in the office. Sit. I sat down. He rubbed his temples and looked at me for a long time. When did you start recording? I started as soon as I got in the car. Why? Because I knew something would go wrong. He didn't ask how I knew. He just nodded, pulled a sheet of paper from the drawer, and slid it over to me. The mock exam results are out. It was a citywide exam with a total of 800 candidates. My name is at the very top of the list. First in the city. Teacher Joe looked at the report card and stayed silent for quite a while. There are 42 students in the singing class. 41 of them missed one subject. So, their scores were invalidated. Only you took every exam and ranked first in the city. He took back the report card. The city is already discussing your singing recommendation. You should receive an official notice next week. I stood up. Thank you, teacher. As I was about to reach the door, he called out to me. Shinron, in the 3 years since I started school, this was the first time I felt like I truly saw you for who you are. I said nothing, closed the door, and left in the hallway. Min was blocking the stairwell, her phone playing some video I couldn't make out. When she saw me coming, she turned off the screen. Her lips moved slightly, as if she wanted to say something. I walked past her without stopping. Shinron. She spoke from behind me, her voice no longer sharp, but a little hoarse. You. Why didn't you just tell us that day that it was too late? I glanced back at her. I said it 5 times. Her face gradually turned pale. I turned around and went upstairs. Chapter 12. That afternoon, when the results of the third mock exam were announced, 3 cars were parked at the school gate. The first one was Tal's mom's electric scooter. Tal was sitting in the back seat, barefaced, and with her hair casually tied back with a rubber band, looking 2 years older. Her mom stormed into the academic office, shouting at the top of her lungs. Why should my daughter have to take the blame all by herself? Didn't the whole class agree to it? Why is she the only one being punished? The head teacher's voice came through the door. Tal was the one who proposed it and organized it, so the punishment is justified. As for the other students, the school will handle each case according to the circumstances. What circumstances? She's just a little girl. Does saying a few nice things make her the organizer? What about the ones who followed along? And that class monitor? The second car was Jang Yi-chen's father's black sedan. As Jang Yi-chen got out of the car, I happened to be walking out of the lab building. We were separated by a flower bed, and he saw me. He stopped. I stopped too. Shinron. His voice was flat with neither anger nor remorse. As if he were reciting a name he didn't recognize that recording. You started it as soon as you got in the car. Yes. You knew from the start that something would go wrong. Yeah. You were planning to run off on your own from the start. I looked at him from the very beginning. I planned not to die with you. He froze for a moment, the corner of his mouth twitching, then turned and walked away. The third car was one I didn't recognize. A dark blue businessman parked at the outer edge of the school gate with no one getting out. It wasn't until I reached the school gate ready to head home that the window rolled down. Inside sat a middle-aged woman wearing glasses and a gray suit with a very neat, refined air about her. Student Shinron. Who are you? My surname is Fawn. I'm with the Provincial Academic Competition Organizing Committee. I called you before, but you hung up. Oh, I remember now. The phone call she answered in the hallway outside the exam room on the day of the test. The piece you submitted for the competition last time has been judged. She adjusted her glasses. First prize in the province. Chapter 13. The news that I had won first place at the provincial level hadn't been made public. Teacher Fun told me not to spread the word yet, saying the formal combination would have to wait until next month's provincial education conference. I tapped the certificate into the very bottom of my backpack and went home. My sister was in the kitchen cooking noodles when she saw me come back. She brought the bowl over to the table. Eat. I sat down and started eating the noodles. I heard you came first in the city. What about that girl who stirred up trouble? She got disciplined. My sister leaned against the stove, arms crossed. Would she really just let it go? I didn't answer. In her past life, Talay never knew how to let things go. What she was best at was bouncing back after being exposed, always with an even sweeter face. Just as expected, the next day, a long post appeared on Moments. It was posted by Tao Lely, and it wasn't in her usual sweet, cutesy tone. I know everyone's been criticizing me. Lely really did make a mistake on May Day. Lely just thought everyone had been working too hard and wanted to cheer everyone up a little. I never expected it to be this late, and I never expected things to turn out like this. I feel awful, and I've been crying nonstop. If I could, I'd be willing to take all the punishment on behalf of everyone. I don't dare ask for everyone's forgiveness. I just want to say that Lely never had any ill intentions. Not ever. I also want to apologize to Sister Juan that day at the school gate. I shouldn't have pointed at you and said those things. You were right. You're clearer-headed than any of us. Soon, hundreds of comments piled up under that post. Lely, don't cry. You didn't mean to do it either. At the end of the day, it was the people who went along themselves who lacked common sense. What did this have to do with Lely? Shinwon wasn't much better. She just took off without saying a word, which was pretty selfish. 2. I looked at those comments and put my phone down. Min forwarded this post to the class group and added, Lely has already apologized. Shouldn't we also reflect on ourselves? No one replied, but I knew the winds were shifting. The third day, Hyjin came to me. Shinron, I need to tell you something. He handed me his phone. On the screen was the chat history from another group. Tal had started a new group and added everyone who'd been on the car that day except you. I scrolled down. Tal had sent a lot of messages in the group, sounding aggrieved but polite. Don't worry, everyone, even if we bombed the third mock exam. It's not the end of the world. We still have the college entrance exam. Lely has already asked her uncle to look into it and see if there's any way to make up for it. By the way, has anyone thought about this? Was Shinruowan's recording prepared in advance? Would a normal person start recording as soon as they got in the car? Did she know beforehand that we would be late? If she did, why didn't she just tell the teacher directly? She only saved herself. Doesn't that count as standing by and doing nothing? Hee-jun put his phone away. I don't buy her act. But a lot of people in the group have started chiming in. Chapter 14. Tal's counterattack came even faster than it had in her past life. Last time she relied on crying, acting cute, and pretending to be innocent. This time she got smarter and played the I was wrong card. Once someone has admitted fault, their questioning of others comes across as much more impartial. On the fourth day, an anonymous printed sheet appeared next to the bulletin board in the great hallway titled A Few Questions About the Recording Incident. First, Shinrua started recording as soon as she got on the bus that night, which suggests she had already anticipated what might happen. Why didn't she notify the teacher and the school right away? A second, Shinrua left the bus alone at 8:39 p.m. and her sister was already waiting on the nearby highway, which suggests she had made an evacuation plan in advance. Was someone who had already planned an escape acting to protect herself or deliberately letting things happen? Third, if Shinron had called the police or contacted a teacher immediately after her first attempt to stop them failed, Would there still have been a chance to intercept the 41 students in time and send them back onto the right path? Was she really the victim, or just another kind of bystander? I stood in front of the bulletin board and read the notice twice. The wording was crisp, and the logic was clear. Unlike TLE style, Min's voice came from behind me. You saw it. I didn't turn around. This note wasn't written by Lely. Don't pin this on her. I never said she wrote it. Then what do you think? Min leaned in half a step, lowering her voice with a hint of probing. A lot of people are asking that question. You knew something was going to happen. So why didn't you call the police? I called Teacher Joe 3 times, but it was busy every time. Then you could have called 110. Would 110 really get involved just because a bus took a detour to look at flowers? Joe Min fell silent for a moment. I reached out and tore the paper off the bulletin board. What are you doing? The bulletin board belongs to the school. Posting anonymously counts as a violation. I folded the paper twice and tucked it into my pocket. If you want to discuss it, bring it up in class meeting. And let everyone speak face to face. I left. Joe Min stood there for a long while. After the second class in the afternoon, H. June stopped me in the hallway. There's more news. He shoved his phone screen right in front of me. Tel posted a voice message in that new group. It went something like this. Lely thinks we're all victims here, so there's no point in making things hard for each other. Lely plans to talk to Shinron in person, clear up the misunderstanding, and make peace. What do you all think? The replies below are all over the place. Lely is pretty magnanimous. Shinron may not agree. You know what kind of person she is, don't you? I think both Lely and Shinron have issues. Hyjin turned off his phone. She's coming to see you. Whatever. Aren't you even going to get ready? Get ready for what? Hyjin glanced at me, swallowed hard, and said nothing more. Chapter 15. Sure enough, Talael showed up after school. She was standing at the entrance of a teaching building, not in her school uniform, but in a white dress. Her hair had been washed and blow-dried, and she looked a lot more energetic than she had a few days ago. But she wasn't wearing any lipstick, and her makeup was very light, just the right amount of haggard. Zoa Min was with her along with 2 other girls. Sister One. She walked up to me, her voice soft. Could Lely talk to you for a minute? People around us had already started. Looking over, the crowd of students leaving school split into 2 streams beside us. Some slowed their pace while others stopped altogether. Go on. Lely has thought about what happened that day for many days. Lely really shouldn't have led everyone the long way around. That was Lely's fault, and Lely admits it. She lowered her head, her voice even softer. But Sister One, I want to ask you a question in person. Go on. She lifted her head, her almond-shaped eyes shimmering with a thin sheen of tears. You started recording the moment you got in the car, and your sister was already waiting for you on the highway first thing this morning. Did you know from the very beginning that we wouldn't make it? It fell silent around them. There were at least 20 people listening. If you knew you weren't going to make it, why didn't you just go talk to the teacher? Why didn't you stop the bus? Your recording can prove you tried to stop it 5 times. But if you'd sent it to teacher Joe, the first time you tried to stop it. She paused and took a breath. Can everyone still make it to the exam? She finished speaking. It was very quiet. Someone whispered, that actually makes sense. I looked at Talel. Her eyes were brimming with tears, but they didn't fall. Her lips were pressed into a slight line. It wasn't hurt, but restrained. The traces of performance had already been polished away to something very faint. You're right, I said. She froze for a moment. I did start recording as soon as I got on the bus, but not because I knew you were taking the whole class to see the flowers. It was because during the last monthly exam, you slipped your cheat note into my test paper, and the proctor caught it. I went to confront you, and you said through tears that Lely had accidentally knocked it out. After that, I learned one thing. I looked at her. Whenever I'm with you, I have to leave evidence behind. Her lips quivered. As for why I didn't call Teacher Joe, I did 3 times. You can check the call log. 758, 804, and 811. All busy signals. Why not call 1110? Because a tour bus taking a detour to see lavender doesn't count as an emergency. Why didn't you stop the bus? I tried 5 times, and every time you all shouted me back twice. Zhang Yiqin grabbed my wrist and wouldn't let me move. That's all I had to say. He paused for 2 seconds. Anything else you want to ask? Tal's tears finally spilled over. This time they really fell. She wasn't pretending. She turned and ran. Min stood frozen in place, mouth agape, unable to close it for a long time. The crowd slowly dispersed in 2s and 3s. Some people were on their phones sending messages, while others walked away quickly with their heads down. I bent down and straightened my backpack strap, then turned and headed toward the school gate. Jen followed after me. How come I never heard about that cheating incident on the midterm exam? Because the proctor wrote down my name in the end. He hissed. She stuffed the note into your exam paper. So, you take the blame. She cried, and the teacher believed her. Hyjin muttered a curse at chapter 16. By then, no one had really remembered the cheating incident from that monthly exam. But the conversation after school that day was caught on video. The video spread to the grade chat, and then made its way beyond the school. The clip of Talael confronting Shinron in person, only to have her own dirty laundry aired, shot to no 2 on the trending list. The comment section split into 2 camps. One side said Shinron was cold and selfish, and that she stood by and did nothing when someone was in danger. One side said Talili's talent for looking innocent was practically on par with a professional actor. But both sides agreed on one thing. This wasn't over yet. The Provincial Education Conference was set for mid-May. A week before the conference, the school informed me that I would represent the Tsinghua Peking University track class at the awards ceremony on the grounds that I had placed first in the city on all 3 mock exams and won first prize in the provincial competition. When word got out that I'd won first prize in the provincial competition, the hallway outside our grade was abuzz with chatter. No one knew I'd even taken part in the provincial contest. Even fewer knew I'd won first prize. I'd never once mentioned it in class. When did she even sign up? I never heard anything about registration. Do you know what a first prize provincial award means? It's worth 20 extra points on the gallo. And some universities will even admit you directly. No wonder she wasn't nervous about the 3rd mock exam. She had an ace up her sleeve. The news made its way into the group chat Tal had set up. The group stayed completely silent for a full hour. Then Talili sent a message. Wow. Sister Ruan is amazing. Lely is happy for her. Only 2 people replied with Amham. The day of the education conference. I went there in my school uniform. The venue was the municipal auditorium, which could seat over 1,000 people. On the stage sat education officials from the province and the city, and below were principals and teachers from various schools, along with the students receiving awards. Teacher Jo was sitting in the 3rd row when she saw me coming over. She stood up and patted the back of my chair seat. I didn't really pay attention to the morning agenda, which was mainly speeches from the leadership and policy briefings. The commation ceremony was at 20:00 p.m. First came the provincial model students, then the provincial outstanding student cadres, and then the winners of various competitions. Next, we will announce the list of first prize winners in the provincial subject competition. The host read out a string of names, and I was 4th. Students who won awards, please come up to the stage to receive them. I stood up and walked onto the stage. The lights were bright, and below was a sea of dark silhouettes. I couldn't make out a single face. The award was presented by a deputy director from the Provincial Department of Education. When he handed me the certificate and trophy, he took an extra look at me. Shinron. Yes. The only girl from the Tingmi class who showed up. Yes. He nodded and shook my hand. Do your best on the exam. Don't let yourself down. When I stepped down from the stage, people in the hallway were whispering to each other. Yeah, that's her. The one from the Mayday incident. Seriously. First prize at the provincial level. What about that girl from their school who always plays cute? That last line made me pause in my tracks because I saw it in the corridor by the side entrance of the auditorium. Tal was standing next to the fire hydrant. She had changed into a floral dress, her hair tied back in a low ponytail, and she was clutching a transparent document envelope containing several sheets of paper. Her mother stood behind her along with a middle-aged man in a suit. She saw me come out and took a couple of steps toward me. Sister Ruan, congratulations. Her voice was soft and sweet, and her smile was so sweet and obedient. Lily also has something she'd like to say to everyone today. She lifted the document folder in her hand. Lily has prepared a public self-criticism and wants to read it out at the conference for everyone to hear. Lily wants to apologize in person to all the teachers and students across the province for what happened on May Day. I looked at her. That's not part of the program for the conference. She tilted her head slightly. So Lay needs Sister Rowan to help put an award with the organizers for me. You just won an award, so they're sure to give you some face. I see she wants to ride on my fame to get on stage if she pulled off a scene of publicly apologizing and vowing to mend her ways here. Her image would shift from a sweetheart who's always causing trouble to a good student who dares to take responsibility. No, the smile on her face faltered. Sister One, this is a provincial education conference, not your personal stage. If you want to apologize, go back to school and do it in a class meeting. Her mother rushed up from behind. How dare you talk like that? Young lady, our Lily is swallowing her pride to apologize, and you're still trying to stop her. Are you afraid that once she apologizes, nobody will keep insulting her? Do you just want to see her get attacked? I ignored her mother and turned to leave. After taking 3 steps, I heard a dull thud behind me. I turned around. Tal was kneeling on the ground. Sister One, please just let Lily say one thing. Just one thing. There were quite a few people coming and going in the auditorium hallway with a pretty girl kneeling there. And an award winner who had just accepted a prize. It looked more like the latter was bullying the former teacher. Joe came out through the side door and took in the scene at a glance. His expression changed. Tal, get up. Tal didn't move. Her mother held her and started to cry. Our Lily is just too kind, which is why people bully her like this. Teacher Joe came over to my side and said 4 words in a low voice. Leave her. Let's go. I followed him, and Tal Lily called up from behind. Sister Rowan, Lily won't give up. Even the voice was sweet. Chapter 17. A week after the education conference, things began to change. The school issued its formal disciplinary decision on the May Day incident in the top academic class. Tal received a major demerit. Zhang Yichen was removed from his post as class monitor and stripped of his qualification for a recommended admission spot. The other students involved in taking the deter each received a demerit which was entered into their comprehensive quality evaluation records. By noon on the day, the disciplinary notice was posted on the grade-level bulletin board. There was already a line of parents outside the dean's office. A demerit? My kid just followed everyone for a walk. What's he getting a demerit for? It affects their overall evaluation in the gallo. Even 1 point can make all the difference. The dean's face darkened as he fired back one sentence after another. Your children were on a bus tagging along with a classmate to see flowers, plant vegetables, and make wishes at airplanes. And they missed the citywide exam from start to finish. Only one student objected 5 times and chose to get off the bus. Is there anything wrong with the disciplinary action? The parents were stunned, but not completely silent. That evening, Tal's mother posted a message in the parents' group. Tal's uncle has already hired a lawyer. The school unilaterally disciplined the student without giving them a chance to explain or defend themselves, which violates relevant provisions of the education law. Then came a follow-up message. What's more, in this incident, classmate Xin Wan knew the whole class was about to be late, yet left on her own. That behavior is controversial in itself. Our lawyer says it raises a moral issue of failing to help in a dangerous situation. No one in the group chat replied. But the next day, there was a lot of gossip in the great hallway. I heard Tal's family is going to sue the school. Can they win? Not sure. But her uncle seems to know someone. June found me in the cafeteria at noon. Have you heard? It's Tal's uncle. Yeah, I heard. Are you scared? What's there to be afraid of if she really files a complaint? You'll definitely get called in as a witness or something. Whatever. June took a bite of the steam bun. I need to tell you something, but don't go spreading it around. Zhang Yichen came to see me a couple of days ago. I paused with my chopsticks in hand. What did he say? He said he wanted to talk to you in person somewhere quiet. He said he's had something on his mind for a while and never got around to saying it about what happened in the car that day. Why doesn't he come to me himself? He said he was afraid you wouldn't see him. I took a bite of the dish. You're right. I won't see him. Aren't you even curious what he wants to say? No. June muttered something about having a heart of stone and didn't say anything else. But after the third class that afternoon, Jang Yi-chen was still standing at my classroom door. He was leaning against the wall. The sleeves of his school uniform rolled up to his elbows. On his wrist was a watch. It was the birthday gift I had given him before. When I came out of the classroom, he was blocking the way. 5 minutes move. Just 5 minutes. I looked at him. He'd lost weight. His jawline looked sharper than before, and the corners of his mouth were pulled down. That calm top of the class composure was gone. 3 minutes, I said. He let out a breath. I should have spoken up for you that day. I didn't, but you should have told me you were leaving. His voice dropped. You jumped out of the car without saying a word. Do you know what I was? You were helping Talel wipe the mud off her skirt. The words cut in his throat. 3 minutes are up. I walked around him and left. Chapter 18. After Jang Yi-chen's guaranteed admission was revoked, his dad came to the school and caused a huge scene. This wasn't about the school. It was about Talili. He was blocking Tal's classroom door, his voice loud enough for half the floor to hear. My son's guaranteed admission spot. 2 years of hard work ruined by one stupid idea from you just because you wanted to look at flowers. What makes you think you can afford to make up for that? Tal huddled in her seat, too scared to say a word, while Zhao Min stood in front of her. Sir, please don't get worked up. This isn't just Lely's fault. Cut the talk. I don't care about anyone else. I'm asking her, who's responsible for my son's guaranteed admission? The head of academic affairs hurried over and dragged him away, but the story spread through the grade. Jenny Chen's dad went over to yell at Talili. No way. Aren't those two on the same side? On the same side with his guaranteed admission gone. Let's see if they're still on the same side. The news was leaking out like water. By the afternoon, another piece of news had also spread. Jang Yi-chen's mother went to look for Tal's mother. The two women met at the school gate. Just as Talel's mother arrived on her electric scooter, she was blocked from going any farther. Your daughter ruined my son's future. Do you know what it means to get a guaranteed admission to Tsinghua and Peking University? Even if your family sold groceries for 10 lifetimes, you still couldn't pay that back. Tal's mother fleshed Reed. Your son chose to go along on his own, who was holding a knife to his throat and forcing him. Besides, your son already gotten through a recommendation, so whether he takes the exam or not doesn't affect him. Why didn't he stop everyone? He's the class monitor. That line left the other person speechless. More and more parents and students gathered around someone's filming. Jang Yi-chen's mother raised her voice. My son is a class monitor. What is your daughter? Your daughter is nothing but trouble. Ever since the first day she came to the school, she's been putting on an act, fooling the whole class. My son only did something so stupid because she had him wrapped around her finger. Who are you calling trouble? The two women were yelling right in each other's faces. Security rushed over and pulled them apart, but the video had already been sent to the group chat that night. The video blew up on a local forum titled Aftermath of the Qingbei class incident. Parents from both families trade insults at the school gate. The mother of a guaranteed admission student calls out the troublemaker sweetheart, homecoming queen. The comments under the post ran over a dozen pages, and it was almost entirely one-sided. You are already guaranteed a spot, and you still drag the whole class to their deaths. What else could that be but stupid? Bottom line, one was playing cute to manipulate people, and the other knew it wouldn't affect them, so they just let things go wrong. Neither of them is any good. The only one who acted normally was the girl who ran off on her own. Those calling her selfish can shut up now. I was lying in bed, scrolled through 2 screens, and then turned it off. My sister knocked on my bedroom door. Still awake. Almost. She pushed the door open and came in, then sat down beside my bed. How's your prep going for next month's college entrance exam? No problem. And your target score? Tsinghua and Peking University. She gave me a glance. Did you know my company has a bidding event for an education project next month? Yes. There's someone from your school on the judging panel. I poked my head out from under the covers. Who? Mr. Zhou. I froze for a moment. He's on the judging panel. Not just him. The principal of your school is there too. She leaned against the doorframe. I'm just giving you a heads up so you're prepared. Whatever happens later, don't be scared. What do you mean? She gave a faint smile. said nothing, closed the door, and left Chapter 19 2 weeks before the college entrance exam. The school held its final full-scale mock exam. Of the 41 students in the top university prep class who had missed the third mock exam, only 29 were still attending classes as usual. Of the remaining 12, some transferred to regular classes, some went home to study, and some simply gave up. Tal was still there. She showed up in class right on time every day with a whole new look. No more floral dresses or lace, just a plain white shirt and school trousers. She stopped braiding her hair to tying it back in a ponytail with nothing but a black elastic band. She stopped smiling, stopped acting cute, and stopped sending voice messages in the group chat. In class, she kept her head down and took notes. When class was over, she just sat there in her seat. Unmoving. Min once told someone in the hallway, "Leo really is reflecting on herself now. Look how quiet she is." June happened to pass by and overheard it, then turned back and said to me, "Do you believe that?" "Nope, I don't believe it either." On the day of the final prep exam, I sat in the front row, and Talal sat by the window in the back row. After 2 days of exams, the results were out. Tal's score dropped by more than 80 points compared to the third mock exam. After checking the rankings in the hallway, she turned and went into the restroom and didn't come out for a long time. Zhao Min went in to look for her, and when they came out, both of their eyes were red. "Roan, when school was over, Zhao Min blocked my way in front of me. Lily wants to treat you to dinner." I looked at her wide. "She wants to have a proper talk with you. She's been reflecting on herself these past few weeks, and she's changed a lot. You've seen that, too." She says she's not asking for your forgiveness. She just wants to say a few things from the heart. "No, can't you just give her a chance?" I already did. When at the education conference that day, she knelt in front of me and begged me to help her get on stage. That wasn't an apology. It was a calculated move. Jo Min's face went pale for a moment. This time it's different. It's different every time I walked around her and left. When I got home, I had a text on my phone from an unknown number. "Classmate Shinron, I'm Tal's uncle. Tai, there's something I'd like to talk to you about. Not about my niece, but something else if it's convenient. Please pick a place for tomorrow at noon." I sent a screenshot of the text to my sister. My sister got back to me quickly. Tai deals in building materials and has a bit of local pull, but that's about it. Don't bother with him. I didn't reply to that text, but at noon the next day, Tai showed up at the school gate. He was standing by a black van, smoking, wearing a gray jacket and a gold watch. When he saw me come out, he stubbed out his cigarette and took a couple of steps toward me. "Classmates, I didn't stop. Just 2 minutes of your time. Only 2 minutes." I took 2 steps, then stopped anyway. "Go on." He gave a faint smile. "You're a smart person. So, I'll cut to the chase with Lily's case. You've got the recording. Public opinion is on your side, and the teachers are backing you. You've already won. I'm not here to take you to court. That was just to scare the school. I'm here to make you an offer." "What kind of offer?" "Delete the recording and stop talking about this publicly. I'll give you compensation in cash. You name the amount, as long as it's reasonable." I looked at him. "Lily grew up under my watch. She did do something stupid, and she's already paid for it. If you keep pounding her like this, she won't be able to take the college entrance exam. And you won't come out ahead either. Why don't we each take a step back? You take the money, and she stays out of trouble." "How much?" He froze, clearly not expecting me to ask that. "You name it. Can you afford a slot at Tsinghua or Peking University?" His smile froze for a moment. "If you can't afford it, then don't come to me looking for a trade. That recording isn't for sale. It's for staying alive." I turned and walked away. He called out after me, "Girl, don't push it too far." I didn't look back. Chapter 20. Someone saw Tai when he came to see me that afternoon. Rumors were already spreading in the grade group chat. Talili's uncle tried to pay to buy Shinroan's recording, but she refused. After a few rounds of retelling, it turned into the Tao family is trying to buy Shinron's silence for 100,000 yuan. A few more rounds later, the Tao family offered 500,000 yuan. In the end, the story went like this. The Tao family tried to buy off Shinron, but she flatly refused. no matter how the amount changed. Every version ended the same way. Shinron didn't agree. This completely changed how the students in our grade looked at me. I went from that selfish person who ran off to someone you couldn't even buy with money. June saw me in the hallway that afternoon and gave me a thumbs up. You really are tough. I just never had the need. If you're short on cash, you can tell me. I'm good. He scratched his head. Then what are you short of? I thought about it. I need a quiet place to study. He let out a hey. Then you're probably going to be disappointed. He handed me his phone. Someone in the group shared a link. A local TV station's education program will air a special discussion next week on the May 1st Tsinghua Peking University class incident. There are 3 people on the guest list: an education expert, a mental health counselor, a student representative. The student representative's name is Talel. She signed up. She reached out to the TV station herself and said she wanted to publicly reflect on her actions as the person directly involved. I handed the phone back to Yun. Let her. You're not going. Why would I go? What if she starts talking nonsense on the show? I have a recording. June fell silent for 2 seconds. Do you realize that when you said those 3 words, you looked like you were holding the launch codes for nuclear weapons? I didn't pay him any mind, but I knew TLE wasn't going on TV to reflect on herself. She was trying to clear her name before the college entrance exam. If she could come across on TV as a model student who publicly reflected on her mistakes and truly turned over a new leaf, it wouldn't hurt her college entrance exam at all. On the contrary, the sympathy factor would only help her score points. A story of remorse from the person involved is always more moving than a bystander's recording. This move of hers was much smarter than the one she made in her last life. Chapter 21. The TV station's recording was at the City Cultural Center. I didn't go, but Ajuan did. He secretly went live from the venue with his phone tucked into a bag in the audience seating area. The video was shaky and off-kilter, but the audio was clear. Tao was sitting in the guest section, wearing a white shirt and school trousers, her hair tied back in a ponytail with no makeup on. The host asked her, "Why did you lead the whole class on a detour back then?" She lowered her head. "Because I thought everyone had been working too hard. It was Labor Day, and while everyone else was resting, we were taking an exam. I just wanted to cheer everyone up, even if only for 10 minutes. Did you think about the consequences?" She lifted her head, and her almond-shaped eyes were red. "No, Lou, I didn't. I thought 10 minutes wouldn't matter. I was just too naive, too arrogant." She paused. "I ruined the future of 41 classmates, and I felt guilty every single day. If I could do it all over again, I'd rather have locked myself at home that day and done nothing." The host turned to the education expert. "What's your take on this?" The education expert adjusted his glasses. The essence of this incident wasn't one student's wrongdoing, but a breakdown in collective psychology. 41 people, and not a single one stepped in to stop it. Wait, one person did. He flipped through the documents in his hands. Shinron was the only student in the class to make it in, and still come away ranked first in the city. She tried to stop it 5 times on the bus, but every time she was overruled. In the end, she chose to get off on her own. Some say she was selfish, but I think in an environment where everyone had lost their minds, she was the only one still clear-headed. Tao's mouth twitched. The host glanced at her. "Lely, what do you think of Shinron's choice?" Tao was silent for a few seconds. "Sister Ruowan is clearer-minded than all of us." Her voice was very soft, but the whole room fell silent. But if the first time she stepped in, she hadn't left herself and out, and had told the teacher right away, maybe everyone wouldn't have been late. She lifted her head, tears clinging to her lashes. "I'm not blaming her. I'm just wondering if back then one of us had been there not just for ourselves, but to really reach out and pull everyone else along. Would things have turned out differently?" The whole room fell silent just as the host was about to speak. A voice suddenly rang out from the back of the audience. "I can answer that." Everyone turned around. I was standing at the entrance to the back row. I hadn't planned on coming when Talel said that, but in Ejuan's live stream, I was at home doing practice problems. I put down my pen and headed out from my place to the cultural center. It's a 15-minute taxi ride. When Talili saw me, his pupils contracted slightly. The host reacted very quickly. Are you classmate Shinruin? Yes. Please come up on stage. I walked onto the stage and took a seat in an empty spot in the guest section. There was a counselor sitting between Talal and me. Classmate Tal raised a question. The host said, if you had not chosen to leave on your own back then, but had contacted the teacher directly, would the outcome have been different? I picked up the microphone on the table. First, I called the teacher. I made 3 calls, and all I got was a busy signal. The call logs can be checked. Second, while I was on the phone, someone on the bus covered the mouthpiece, so I couldn't speak. That person was the class monitor at the time. Yani-chun, it's in the recording. Third, when I tried to stop it a third time, someone snatched my phone and threw it under the seat. That person was Jo Min. It's in the recording. 2. I turned to Talili. You asked me why I didn't help everyone out. I did. You pried my hands off one by one. Talili's lips moved slightly. I didn't know these details. You didn't know because you were busy teaching everyone how to make a wish. You said wishes made on May Day, while facing the sun, were the most powerful. All 40 people on the bus were lined up, eyes closed, and I was the only one with my eyes open, making a phone call. The education expert set the materials down in his hands. The counselor turned and looked at Talili. Lily, the counselor said, was that line you just said something you came up with on the spot, or did you prepare it in advance? Tal gave no answer because in terms of the way the statement is structured, you first admitted fault to build trust, and then used a but to shift the blame onto someone else. That's a very classic form of apology-style attack. Her face went pale little by little. Are you sure you came on the show today to reflect on yourself? The whole room fell silent. Tal lowered her head. A few seconds later, she stood up, set the microphone on the table, and turned toward the backstage area. Her mother hurried after her from the audience, and the two of them exchanged a few quiet words in the hallway before disappearing together. The recording was interrupted for 10 minutes after the recording resumed. The host said a few words. In today's episode, we saw 2 kinds of people. One came prepared with a carefully crafted explanation after the fact. The other was already ready when it happened. The spirit of Labor Day is about respecting the rules, keeping your feet on the ground, and taking responsibility for your own life. Who truly lives that spirit is something the audience can judge for themselves. It was already pitch black by the time I came out of the cultural center. Hyjin was waiting for me at the entrance. What you just said was being watched by 20,000 people in the live stream. Wasn't I just telling you to watch it secretly? Why did you live stream it? I wasn't the one live streaming, but someone else was. He showed me his phone. This clip was being rebroadcast in several live streams, and the comments were already blowing up. Shinron is seriously cool. Tal just couldn't keep up the act anymore. That's the Mayday spirit. Walk your own path, and don't count on anyone to save you. I gave him back his phone. Come on, let's go. We still have class tomorrow. Chapter 22. The day after the TV program aired, Tal didn't come to class. He didn't come the 3rd day either. On the 4th day, Teacher Zhao announced in class, classmate Talili is on leave for health reasons. The exact date of his return to school will be notified later. No one asked why, but everyone knew. The full version of the show spread online, and the edited clips went even more viral. The headlines all follow the same formula. Sweetheart valedictorian publicly falls from grace. The good girl image she'd maintained for 3 years shattered in an instant. The ultimate reversal in the Mayday Qingbei class incident. Tal's social media accounts were wiped clean. Her mom also set her moments to visible for only 3 days. Tawai, the uncle, had heard from Hyjin that his business partner had openly mocked him. Your niece's mess has already been on TV. What business are you still trying to do? If people look into your background, it's nothing but a joke. But Tal never disappeared completely. She did one thing from the shadows. 10 days before the college entrance exam, I received a copy of an anonymous letter of report. It was given to me by Teacher Zhao. Someone reported that your first-place paper in the provincial competition was plagiarized. I finished reading the letter. It was 2 pages long, very detailed, and pointed out 3 passages that were allegedly strikingly similar with comparison screenshots attached. The report has been submitted to the Provincial Competition Committee, and they are requiring you to submit your original research notes. and process data within 1 week for review. I set the letter down. Got it. Don't you have anything to say? I wrote the paper myself. I collected the data myself. And I've kept all the process records. If they want to verify it, let them verify it. Teacher Joe looked at me for a moment. I believe you. But you need to understand that if your award eligibility is temporarily suspended during the review, your recommendation to Chinua and Ping University will also be put on hold. I know the college entrance exam is in 10 days. I know. He sighed. Go get the materials ready. I returned to the classroom, and Hyjin had already left a bottle of water on my desk. I heard news travels fast. Who do you think tipped them off? I said nothing. Jun leaned in and lowered his voice. Even though Talili didn't come to class, Jo Min is still there. I saw Jo Min looking up her competition paper at the library a couple of days ago, turning pages for a long time. I twisted open my water bottle and took a sip. Jo Min can't track down those comparison materials. What do you mean? The 3 comparison passages listed in the report came from an unpublished research draft stored only in the competition system's internal database. Ordinary people can't access it. Hun's expression changed. Then who found it? Someone with inside access who does a contest judge, or someone who knows Won Hee-jun swallowed hard tie he's in building materials, so he's got nothing to do with the education system, but he did say one thing. Lely's uncle knows someone at the education bureau. He cursed under his breath. She's trying to get rid of you before the college entrance exam. Can't get rid of it. I took out a USB drive from my backpack, all my experimental data research notes, and processed screenshots with timestamps accurate to the second. Every step from the proposal to the final draft is documented. You even save this being in the same school, as Tao means I have to save everything. Chapter 23. The verification process moved faster than I expected. On the 3rd day after submitting the materials, Teacher Fun from the Provincial Competition Committee came to the school in person. She was seated in the conference room, flipping through my complete set of research records page by page. Classmate Shinron, I need you to explain a few things in person. Okay. The 3 suspected overlapping passages cited in the complaint letter do in fact bear similarities to a draft in the internal database. But after comparison, your thesis was completed 4 months earlier than that draft. She closed the folder. In other words, if there was plagiarism, it was yours being copied, not you copying someone else's. I said nothing, and the author of that draft was a teacher from another competing school. In other words, she paused and took off her glasses. Someone read your paper, borrowed your ideas to write a draft, and save it in the system, then turned around and accused you of plagiarism. This isn't the first time we've run into something like this. She stood up and walked over to me. Your award eligibility remains unchanged. The review results will be issued tomorrow. I stood up. Thank you, Teacher Fong. She glanced at me. You hung up too quickly that day. Don't rush next time. She gave a little smile and left. On the day the review results came out, the school posted them on the bulletin board. After review by the Provincial Competition Committee, it was determined that Shinroan's competition paper contained no academic misconduct. The report was inconsistent with the facts. There's a line of small print below. The organizing committee has already investigated the individuals involved in the report. Hee-jun took a screenshot and sent it to me right away. Oh no, have they found out who made the report? It hasn't come out yet, but the direction is pretty clear. Do you think that advisor was trying to screw you over on his own, or did someone put him up to it? What do you think? June said nothing. That afternoon, something even bigger happened. Tal came back to school. Her mother came with her. The 2 of them stood outside the dean's office. Tal's head bowed as she clutched a printed leave slip in her hand. She had lost a lot of weight. Her cheeks had sunken in, and the collar of her white blouse hung loose around her neck. The dean of studies signed off on her return to school paperwork. When she walked into the classroom, the whole class went quiet for 2 seconds, then went back to what they were doing. No one greeted her. Even Xiao Min only glanced up at her before lowering her head again. Tal walked to the back row, sat down, placed her backpack on the desk, slowly unzipped it, and took out the books one by one. Her hands were shaking, but she didn't cry. For the first time, I didn't see a trace of acting on her face. After school, She was waiting at the school gate, blocking the way. And not me. Everyone. And she stood on the steps at the school gate holding a stack of envelopes. This is Lily's apology letter to everyone. She bent down holding the first letter in both hands and offered it to the first boy who stepped out. I'm sorry. The boy glanced at her, didn't take it, and walked past her. She passed it on to the next person again. Sorry. No one took it. The third, the fourth, the fifth. Nobody answered. She stood there watching the envelopes fall one by one onto the steps where the wind caught them, flipped them over a few times, and scattered them. When I came out of the classroom, she was still standing on the steps. Only the last envelope was left in her hand. She saw me and took a couple of steps over. Sister Ruan, this letter is for you. I looked at the envelope written on it in ballpoint pen were the words for Shinroan's eyes only. Her handwriting was different from before. Back then, she deliberately written in rounded characters. Cute and obedient. Now, it was just her normal handwriting. A little crooked, a little shaky. Lily didn't mean anything else by it. Her voice had gone horsero. No longer sweet. Like a chalk stick worn down to a nub. Lily just wanted to say sorry, then quietly finish the college entrance exam and leave here. I looked at her for a few seconds. He reached out and took it. Her lips trembled slightly, and she turned and walked away. I didn't open the letter. I tucked it into the very bottom of my backpack underneath the provincial competition award certificate. Chapter 24, or 5 days before the college entrance exam. A red notice had been posted on the grade-level bulletin board showing the results of the final mock exam rankings. The names of the top track class had already been mixed up and ranked together with the regular classes. I'm in first place. Tal's name is in 371 place beside her name. Someone drew a smiley face in pencil. No one knows who drew it, but no one has erased it either. That afternoon, one event changed the course of everyone's lives. The Provincial Competition Organizing Committee issued an announcement. Following an investigation, it was found that during the review process for this year's provincial academic competition, a mentor from one participating school abused their review privileges to obtain the papers of other contestants without authorization, then used them as the basis to draft a submission in the system before filing a false report against the original author. This conduct constitutes a serious violation of academic standards. Verification also showed that the teacher had a vested interest in a third party involved in promoting the report. The announcement did not name anyone, but word spread quickly through the local education community. And by afternoon, everyone knew that mentor teacher was a relative of one of Tai's business partners. Tai asked someone to find him and have him help cook up an academic misconduct report with the goal of freezing my award eligibility before the college entrance exam. When the news broke, I was in the classroom doing practice questions. Hayuni rushed in, drenched in sweat. Shinron, did you see that? I saw it. We found Tai. I know. How are you so calm? Because I knew they'd find out. He froze for a moment. You knew ahead of time again. When Professor Fong came in person to verify things, the first question she asked wasn't whether my paper was right or wrong. It was, who saved that draft into the system? From the very beginning. She wasn't there to investigate me. She was there to investigate the whistleblower. H. June sat next to me. Still dazed for a long time. Your luck is unreal. It wasn't luck. I just kept the evidence well preserved. The back door of the classroom creaked open. H. June and I both turned around at the same time. Ta was standing in the doorway. There was no expression on her face at all. Neither sweet nor hurt nor angry. It just felt empty. You knew? I asked. She nodded. My uncle did it. I didn't know. Her voice didn't tremble. I didn't find out until after I got back. When he was talking to my mom, I was in the next room. The door was cracked open, and I heard everything. I didn't say anything. Lily really didn't know. She said it again. Then she left the classroom, closing the door behind her. June looked at the closed door and said softly, "Do you believe me or not?" I picked up the pen. It doesn't matter anymore. Chapter 25, 2 days before the college entrance exam. The school held a school-wide pep rally for the entire grade. The principal stood on stage and rambled on for 20 minutes with the usual platitudes. Basically, stay calm, perform as you normally would, and bring honor to the school. As he was wrapping up, he paused. This year, something's happened that put our top track class through unprecedented upheaval. The room fell silent, but I want to say this. Rules are rules, and no one gets an exception. On May Day, 41 students chose to go flower viewing and plant vegetables, while one student chose to take the exam. The top score in the city on the third mock exam, and the first place award in the provincial competition. Both tell us one thing. He looked in my direction. It wasn't luck that chose someone. It was discipline and clarity. Applause broke out. Not the polite kind of clapping, but the real thing. Hearty, forceful applause, the kind you make by striking your palms together. I sat in the fourth row and didn't move. After the meeting adjourned, a lot of people in the hallway looked at me. Some nodded, some gave a little smile, and some hurried away. Tal sat in the back row and didn't get up until everyone else had left. When she reached the doorway, a boy blocked her way. He juned to Lily. She looked up. The organizing committee has already reported your uncle's case to the Education Bureau. You know that, right? She nodded. The Education Bureau is investigating his ties of interest with that mentor teacher. If it's confirmed, it won't just be his problem. You'll be dragged into it, too. Tal looked at Hidge, June pressing her lips together. Lely knows. And you still call yourself Lely. Hyjin let out a cold sneer. You played the sweet girl for 3 years when you were putting on the act. The whole class applauded you when it all came crashing down. The whole class took the blame for you. Are you stupid or just rotten? Lely said nothing. More, and more people nearby, came to a stop. You made the whole class go look at flowers, got everyone marked late, and said it was for everyone's own good. You apologized on TV, then halfway through suddenly pinned the blame on Shinron, and said that was your way of reflecting. Your uncle bribed the advisor to file an academic complaint, and you said you knew nothing about it. He kept closing in on him, step by step. What about you is even real? Tal took a step back. June, you can yell at me. Her voice was very soft, but every word was steady. What happened on May Day was my fault. That line on the TV show was something my mom taught me to say. I shouldn't have said it. As for what my uncle did, I really didn't know until after I came back. Believe it or not, Lely doesn't want to explain anymore. She lowered her head. After the college entrance exam, I'll leave the city. Tal will be gone for good. Han was left speechless by those words. Someone in the crowd spoke up. Cut the act. You're at it again. Trying to get people to feel sorry for you. Yeah, leaving. What is this? Some TV drama? You didn't look like this back when you took us to see the flowers. The noise kept growing louder and more chaotic. Tal stood in the middle of the crowd, head bowed, saying nothing. Someone hurled a crumpled ball of paper at her, and it hit her shoulder before bouncing off. She didn't dodge. Another wad of paper came flying over, this time hitting her in the face. She still didn't move. Teacher Joe walked over from the far end of the corridor, his voice icy. Enough, everyone disperse. The crowd slowly drifted apart. Tal bent down and picked up the crumpled scraps of paper on the floor, one by one, clenched them in her hand, and left. I stood at the corner of the hallway, watching her back disappear at the stairwell for the first time. I didn't feel any satisfaction. Chapter 26. College Entrance Exam. June 7th, clear skies. I was sitting in the front row of the exam hall, and my hand was steady when I put pen to paper after the 2-day exam. When I walked out of the exam hall, my sister's car was parked by the roadside. How did it go? It was fine. She started the car. Your first place prize in the provincial competition has been officially reinstated, and the recommendation to Tsinghua and Peking University has come through as well with your college, and trans exam score added in. It's basically a done deal. I leaned back in the chair and closed my eyes. What about Tai? The Education Bureau looked into his relationship with that instructor. That teacher's teaching qualification was revoked. Tawai himself wasn't really punished since he's not part of the education system, but his reputation in local business has been completely ruined, and several partners have already terminated their contracts. What about Talal? She's finished the exam, but the results are still out based on her previous ranking. Even getting into a second-tier university is a long shot. I said nothing. What are you thinking about? Nothing. After I got home, I dug the letter out from the bottom of my backpack. Open it. Inside was only a single sheet of paper handwritten. And very short. Sister Ruan Lely knew as early as freshman year that she'd never get into a good university. So I've been trying to find another way. The whole Sweetheart Act was my idea. And what happened on May Day was planned by me too. Zhang Yiqin told me he'd gotten a guaranteed admission. And that a spot at Tsinghua or Peking University would open up. I thought that if I could just make some people underperform on the exam, I'd have a chance to slip in through the back door. I was wrong. I treated everyone else's future like stepping stones for my own rise. You were the only one I refused to trample. Thank you. Talal. I folded the letter and put it back in the envelope. I placed it at the very back of my desk drawer. Chapter 27. The day the results came out, I was waiting at home. A text message popped up on my phone. It was a link to check my score. I tapped it. 3rd place in the province. 1st in the whole city. My sister poked her head out of the kitchen. How much? I handed her my phone, and she glanced at it, the corners of her mouth lifting slightly. Without saying a word, she turned back to the kitchen and kept stir-frying. Her phone started ringing nonstop. Teacher Joe, the dean of studies, the principal. One call after another. Shinron, 3rd place in the province. Tsinghua and Peking are in the bag. The school is going to apply for the principal's official recommendation for you. So get your materials ready. The city reporters are coming to interview us. So please cooperate. After I finished taking them one by one, I tossed my phone onto the bed. After dinner, I checked the news. The results for the Tsinghua Peking University track are out too. The 41 students who missed the 3rd mock exam had wildly different Gallo results. The top scorer cleared the 1st-tier university cutoff, but was still more than 40 points short of Tsinghua and Peking University. Most hovered around the 2nd-tier cutoff. 7 of them didn't make the undergraduate cutoff. Tao's score wasn't made public, but Ajuan sent a message. 312 points. Junior college. I glanced at it and put my phone down. Jenny Chen's exam results were out too after his guaranteed admission was revoked. He took the college entrance exam. 591 points. Enough to get into a pretty good 211 university. But not Tsinghua or Peking University. Jun said that on the night the results came out, Jane Eachin sat on the school field all night long. The next morning, he sent a message in the class group chat. I'm sorry. 3 words. No one replied. 2 days later, that message had been buried under the other conversations in the group chat as if nothing had ever happened. Chapter 28. The admissions letter arrived in mid-July. A red envelope with gold lettering. When I held it in my hands, my sister stood nearby and took a picture. Let's post it on Moments. No, then I'll post it. She posted a Moments update with a photo of her admission letter. The caption was just 4 words. Well deserved. Hundreds of comments poured in below, most of them from people at her company and her friends. One of the comments was very short. Congratulations. The person who left the comment was Yanni Chen. I didn't reply that same day. Another news story made the local trending list. Dalele, the person involved in the May Day incident involving the elite Tsinghua Peking class, was exposed as having scored only 312 on the Gallo, and has now applied to a local junior college. The comment section under the news no longer has the buzz it did a few months ago. People's attention had already moved on with only a few scattered comments left. Back when she was playing the sweet little darling, she was so popular. Look at her now. Let's not bring it up anymore. She's already in that kind of state. At the end of the day, it was just some stupid thing a high schooler did. I turned off my phone. In the afternoon, an unexpected call came in. Tao's mother. Student. Congratulations. Her voice had lost its sharp edge. It was as if something had worn it smooth. I'm calling to let you know that Lely moved out today. She enrolled in a vocational college in another province and left before the semester started. She wanted to go somewhere where no one knew her. I didn't say anything. Before she left, she asked me to pass along a message to you. What did you say? She said, tell Sister Ruan that Lely never did learn how to be a normal person in the end. But Lely did remember one thing. From now on, never touch someone else's steering wheel. The call ended. I sat at the table watching the sun outside, inch forward, bit by bit. I remember that morning on May 1st. The sun was at the same angle when the bus had just pulled out of the school gate that day. Tal was standing on the bus, holding a lollipop in her hand, smiling like the best person in the world. Everyone on the bus was clapping. Only I knew where that applause would take them. Chapter 29. September 1st. I stood at the entrance to the university, suitcase in hand. My sister drove me here. The car was parked by the roadside, and she was leaning against the door. "Do you want me to walk you in?" "No. Thanks." "Do you have enough money?" "Yes. Call me if anything comes up." I rolled my suitcase inside, took a few steps, then stopped, and looked back. My sister was still standing there, arms crossed, watching me. I went back and gave her a hug. She froze for a second, then patted me on the back. "Go on." The dorm was on the 6th floor, a 4-person room. One by one, her roommates arrived. 3 girls, each making up her bed and introducing herself. "Where are you from? What was your score on the college entrance exam? What specialization are you planning to choose?" I put my luggage away and sat down on the edge of the bed. Outside the window was a stand of plane trees, and sunlight filtered through the leaves, falling in patches across the desk. My phone rang. A message from a Jewin popped up. "How's college life?" "I just got here. I haven't started yet." "Guess where I went?" "Didn't you apply to that sports university in the provincial capital?" "Yeah, I did. But there's something I need to tell you." "Go on." "I ran into Yanichin at the school gate." I froze for a moment. Didn't he apply to another 211 university? He gave up, retook the exams, and got into a better school in the same city as mine, but not the same university. What did he say? He only said one thing. "What?" "Tell Shinron for me that from here on out, I'll walk my own path." I looked at the message and turned off my phone outside the window. The plane tree leaves rustled in the wind for years of college. I won 3 first-class scholarships, published 2 papers in core journals, joined my advisor's research group in my junior year, and was recommended for graduate school into the best lab at my university in my senior year. My sister's company was listed on the NEQ and became a local leader in the edtech sector. Hyjin won a gold medal at the National University Sports League. The 3 of us would occasionally chat in the WeChat group, but most of the time we were each busy with our own things. The news about Zhang Yiqin came up only occasionally in Ijin's conversations. He studied law, did quite well academically, and kept a very low profile at school. He didn't join any clubs or run for any positions. Jun said he was like a completely different person from before. I never went out of my way to ask about Talili. There was only one time during the winter of my sophomore year when Jamin posted a photo in her moments. It was a grand opening banner for a milk tea shop. The banner read, "Lale Tea Drinks." Tal wasn't in the photo. All you could see was a pair of hands behind the counter handing out a cup of milk tea. Xiaomin added a caption, "Best wishes on your grand opening." I looked at it for 2 seconds, then swiped away. Chapter 35 years later. Labor Day. I was standing by the floor, toe-ceiling window of an office building in the provincial capital, coffee in hand. Below the main road was bustling with traffic. In the park in the distance, people were flying kites, and festival banners hung from the street light poles red with yellow characters. "Salute to the workers." My sister's company got provincial high-tech enterprise certification last year, and its valuation has surpassed 800 million yuan. My research project has just been approved for a national-level grant, and the funding has come through. My phone rang. It was a group message. My high school class group. No one had said anything in the group for a long time. The last message was an ad someone forwarded 6 months ago. The person who sent the message today was Jun. "Happy Labor Day. Does anyone remember that something happened in our class 5 years ago today?" There was a long silence. Then someone replied, "I remember." Another person replied, "Yeah, I remember." Then came the third, the fourth. If Shin Wan hadn't gotten out of the car that day, I'd probably be laying bricks right now. I'm not doing all that great either, but at least I'm not as stupid as I was back then. Happy May Day, everyone. Happy Labor Day. Messages kept popping up one after another. Some long, some short, some just an emoji. No one mentioned Talili's name again, nor did anyone mention Zhang Yichun. It was as if that May morning, the bus bound for the Sea of Flowers, the lollipops, The red strings, the wishing tree, and the farming park had all turned into a piece of old news no one wanted to think about too closely. Only the result remained. I put down my phone and took a sip of coffee. The sunlight outside the window was beautiful, just as beautiful as it had been on that May Day morning 5 years ago. That day, I sat in the very back row of the bus and watched TLE stand up holding a lollipop in both hands. Her smile so sweet it was almost sickening. I didn't stop her. I just quietly turned on the recorder and sent my sister my location. Then when the bus reached a place I didn't want to go, I jumped off on my own. In my past life, I died on the road they chose for me. In this life, I chose my own path, and I walked all the way here on my own downstairs. A child is shouting, "Mom, happy May Day. Labor is the most honorable." I gave a little smile. I finished my coffee, then turned and headed back to my desk. Spread out on the desk was a research project brief with the first place provincial competition trophy sitting beside it. At the very back of the drawer, there was a letter tucked underneath something on the envelope. It said, "For Shinroan's eyes only." The handwriting was a little crooked, a little unsteady. I'd never shown this letter to anyone, and I'd never thrown it away either. The wind outside the window turned the leaves of the plane tree over, revealing the pale green veins on their backs. The desk calendar has been turned to today. May want to see Labor Day at the end.